Off Script with Super E recommends listener discretion as these real but sometimes uncensored stories can be filled with mature content. Jay here, back with another Off Script tale from Super E. That's kind of our titles in there somewhere. We got Super E here. Say a little something, Super E.
How's it going, everybody? Glad to be talking to you again.
And A-Train.
Hey, everybody, it's A-Train.
And, A-Train is the one who came up with this idea because Super E wrote this book. And when somebody tells me they write a book, I expect to see a book. And no, we got a bunch of notebooks.
Spiral ring notebooks.
That are filled with all kinds of greatness. I don't know how else to put it. But so maybe someday it'll be in a book, be published, but it's going to have to probably be put in fiction because nobody's going to believe it.
Yes, I didn't. You know what? When I think about it, sometimes I can't believe it happened.
Man, I'm telling you, it's so far what we've heard is fantastic. So why don't we just launch right back into another tale, Super E? Tell us a tale.
Well, there was another time that the community was up in arms about what they thought was illegal activity that was bringing down their neighborhood with crime and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
real quick, let's tell us how important it is to the community and their input on how it comes down to what we do on a daily basis.
Well, doing the street level things that I did, that's what we call it, street level.
Mm-hmm.
It was 90% of my investigations were spurred on by complaints from the citizens, because the citizens would tell the commanders, and the commanders would filter the information down to me. Hey, can you help with this problem? Can you help with that problem? And in this situation, everybody knows strip joints that are, look like palaces with beautiful women running around, but there's also strip joints that are less prestigious, a little bit more shadier, and some of them are plopped right down in a residential neighborhood. I mean, there's a square building next to residential houses,
Right.
With no windows.
Yeah, no windows. Yes,
Thank God.
This way,
how would they get the permits?
I don't know, but this way, the despair can't escape the building through the windows.
The despair.
But so we had a complaint on this place, low rent, and it said this one girl was doing things improperly or whatever. They were accusing her of all kinds of things. So I get there, I'm like, what is this girl up to?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, these girls are not as attractive of the ones in the bigger name places.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're the ones that they might be a little bit heavier, a lot heavier, or they're super skinny from, too much drugs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or, and you could tell, they've been around because they have bullet hole scars and
Never visited a dentist.
tire marks.
Stretch marks.
They have like 8 teeth,
Right.
3 in their pocket. One pupil's always bigger than the other. And so I'm in there and I see the girl they're talking about, and I'm like, well, she fits the bill,
So what was she doing?
Yeah.
Well, I was not expecting this. I was expecting, okay, is she getting completely naked? Because they couldn't get completely naked. I said, is she getting completely naked, or is she possibly performing sex acts to the guys at the table? She's got whatever she's doing is. That's what
So
you figured.
you weren't sent in there with a specific.
No.
You were sent in there to just see what
I was doing
going
recon
on.
to see what was going on. in
Okay.
there.
Okay.
And what she started doing, I wouldn't have guessed in a million years.
What was she doing, Super?
Well, the guys were getting her into a fervor because they must have been there before to see it. They were cheering her on, ramping it up.
Wait a minute, that's a big word. What's
Yes.
a fervor?
A fervor was kind of increase in passion for
Maybe
about
like
what
a
they wanted.
frenzy?
A frenzy, yes.
Okay.
It was becoming
okay.
a frenzy.
All right.
And she was like teasing them. She's getting about ready to do. I said, she's getting ready to do something here that's supposed to be pretty spectacular. I got to see what this is.
Uh-huh.
Next thing you know, she grabs her breasts and squeezes on them like they're a couple of Guernseys and lets the breast milk fly. And I'm not talking dribbling out. I'm talking fire hose, put out a house fire. Guys are getting sprayed from 6, 7, 10 feet away with breast milk. And I was like, what in the hell am I seeing?
So you quickly took over your cup of coffee, Joe, right?
No. Yes. If I was in England, I would took over my tea.
Right.
Yes. So these guys, they seem to be enjoying
They
this.
were loving it.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
I didn't know there was breast milk enthusiasts.
I didn't either.
I didn't
There's-
either.
Okay.
And so all I, if I recall, because I didn't know where in the code book was of, illegal breast milk activity.
So to break it down, were they supposed to wear the Band-Aids or the tapes?
That's
Covering?
Yes, and that's where it came in. Now
Right. We can say nipple to
Yeah.
cover their
Yeah.
nipple.
they had to have their nipple covered with an opaque covering. Opaque was the main word. Had to have an opaque covering.
That's
It
what, that's what the code says.
Yeah, they couldn't have like saran wrap where you could see right through it. Had to be an opaque covering.
All right.
Somebody tried that, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
You had to.
So, or they could get away with just covering up with makeup. So, but I didn't want to make a big deal about it. I kind of pulled her over to the table, like, oh, I'm going to tip you, whatever. Because by tipping them, they would come over and they'd dance in front of you.
Right.
And you would let her stay there long enough till you got overwhelmed by the disgusting body odors because they had been doing this for like 7 hours. And had
She'd been
10
working hard.
Yes. So.
Okay.
And so I tipped her, and then I explained to her. I kind of whispered who I was and said, the breast milk dousing is going to have to stop, or I'm going to have to write you a summons for, basically public indecency.
Right.
And she was cool with it. And then I had to go tell the manager, we can't have that anymore.
Yeah.
The neighbors do not like it.
Right.
And he was cool with it.
Did he point out that the guys who were liking it, well, that's a neighbor, that's a neighbor.
Yeah,
he lives
exactly.
around, he's,
They were all from the
that guy lives
neighborhood.
upstairs.
Because none of them afford a car.
So when they called her on stage, did the custodian come right out and follow her to get the floor mopped up?
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, I
Did
think
he get any tips?
I don't actually think they worried about
Okay.
cleanliness. on
Okay.
there. It
I was
wasn't
just
It
wondering.
wasn't a top priority.
It's a slipping hazard.
Being
Yeah.
the mop guy in that
Yeah.
place would be a tough job.
That
right?
is a tough job.
I know a tougher mop job for guys I've been in than that. But anyways,
Is that the place with the little booths and stuff?
well, no, that's a place where the girls would come in and they would display lingerie to you, and the guys were supposed to look at it and say, "Okay, I would like to buy that lingerie." And
I see.
basically, we all know what the guy was doing in there. And then after a few minutes, it'd be like, "Irv, room 2, mop and bucket." So,
So it was like a self-service
Yes.
type operation. I get it.
yes.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Explain a little more for Jay. He's a little
Yeah, what
slow
do you
here.
mean?
Well,
Super.
the guys weren't really there to buy lingerie. They were there to see a good-looking woman and to please themselves.
I see.
Yes.
Yeah. Hence the self-service.
Yes.
Right.
So, were you able to take the lingerie home if you bought it?
If you bought it,
Really?
yeah.
They actually, okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's like being at a ball game. If
Yeah.
ball comes into the stands and you get it, it's yours
Well,
to keep.
basically, you pay for the lingerie that was probably worth $2, but you would tip the girl $20, $20, and the more you tipped, the more the clothes came off.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So,
Could you, if you didn't like what you were seeing, could you give money back and she'd put clothes back on? Would that happen at all?
I guess you could, but you do want to insult them
I get
because
it.
some of them could throw a punch. So
And we're going to talk about that a
Yeah,
little
exactly.
later here in some subsequent podcasts.
But seeing these guys get doused with the breast milk, I never thought it would happen to me. But fast forward 10 years later, I had the same thing happen to me.
Okay, time out a minute. You've got another breast milk story?
There's another one.
Does it include the maternity ward?
No, it includes me almost wrecking my car, being blinded.
Oh God, let's go.
Got to hear it.
Let's go.
Well, I was working, the street level prostitution, because this is an area where you know, you had what we called the urban pioneers. They liked to move into a rough area, and they thought it was cool to live there. And they were complaining about the street prostitutes. So I'm going down that main drag, and I see two girls, and I'm driving my favorite car I ever had for an undercover car, my 1978 Olds 98. Super awesome. And I see two girls walking along, not walking with a purpose, no purses, looking at cars driving
So
by.
if I can interject a quick question about the no purses. And again, I never worked Vice, and I never picked up a prostitute. But I always heard they carried a knife. Where do they carry the knife if they didn't have a purse? Or is that just a wives' tale that they always had a knife on them?
They had knives concealed on them, and there's another story about stuff being concealed about that. But they would have them in their pockets.
We're going to get to them all.
Yeah, they would carry it in the pocket. Sometimes they'd carry it in their hand. One girl didn't have a purse; she had a giant bag, and she had a piece of asphalt in the giant bag she was carrying.
That was her weapon.
That was a weapon. I said, "What is it?" I'll bash somebody upside the head, and I was like, "Oh."
With this piece of asphalt.
Yeah, with this piece of asphalt.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
But
didn't
anyways,
cost her anything.
so I see these two girls walking without a purpose, no purses, looking in cars. They see me drive by, and I pull up about 20 yards ahead of them, pull over. And that's a signal to them that I'm interested, and that's a signal to me when they're coming to the car, I know what they're about. So they jump in the car, and the 78 Olds 98 had the big, comfortable bench seat. So the one girl slid in right next to me, and then her friend was right next to her. And we're just talking. Now, it's July, and they've been out walking for a while, so they were sweaty, and it was pungent. And I'm driving along, and I'm just talking. You know, after you get experience, you don't just jump into a, hey, what can I get for $20? No, you're just talking. You're just having a good old time talking. And so then I knew I had him when they said, so, Ray, code name, what are you out doing? What are you out looking for? Well, funny that you mentioned it. And I said, you're awful good-looking girls. Sorry. I said, you're awful good-looking girls. What are you doing? And then they come in, we're trying to make some money. I said, that's cool. I got some. You know, what are you looking to do? What do you want to do? I like to get some head. And they're like, all right. Well, then one girl was going to give me a hand job. That's a street term for masturbation, by the way.
Okay.
The girl to the far right was going to give me a hand job.
Some people refer to that as an old-fashioned.
An old-fashioned.
You know.
And the girl next to me was going to perform fellatio, street term for head.
Correct.
Which that's the Gluck Gluck 9000.
So I'm driving along, so I'm thinking to myself again.
Hey, I saw that on the TikTok. That's
good.
I didn't make that up.
That's
I saw
good.
it on TikTok.
That's good.
But again, my backup, nowhere to be seen because, you know, once you turn one corner, they're gone. They
Right.
can't find you. And the girls are looking over their shoulder. So the guys know. So I'm driving along. So I got to find a good place that I can let them know that I'm the police and it's safe for both of us. Generally what I do is I'd pull into a gas station and say, hey, I'm thirsty. You guys want a pack of cigarettes? I could go in there. By this time, we all had cell phones. I get on cell phone and let the uniform car, because you knew who was in the area. Hey, let so-and-so uniform car know that I got an arrest at this village pantry. And then
Okay.
I would buy them something to drink, and they'd be waving at me from the car. So I'm looking around for some place like that to go.
Right.
And did you have, so I know you were trying to get a uniform. Did you have anybody with you?
No, I mean, they were long gone. They had lost.
Okay. So and there's no thing to.
No, there's no transmitting devices. They don't work within 5 feet.
Okay.
So
Okay.
those are not reliable. You couldn't rely on them.
Right.
So, but I would have a recording device, and I knew what was needed in court, so I made sure we hit all the elements to meet a prostitution charge or whatever charge, or if I was buying drugs.
Right.
So I'm thinking about, okay, where do I got to drive, a safe location, identify myself, so these girls, you know, they're not, because, you know, again, when you look like Manson, you know, these girls don't want to wake up Manson.
You know, now I think you're selling yourself short. I mean, you're a well-built guy. You're maybe like a husky Charles Manson, maybe.
Well, yes, I kind of like a Charles Manson on a full moon.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe a little Werewolf of London action, full beard, long
Okay.
hair.
Very good.
So I don't want to terrify them either, because anybody can pull out a badge. and because anybody can get a badge from anywhere. So I tried to make sure there was a safe spot. So as I'm thinking of all this, all of a sudden I realized I can't see and my eyes are burning. And as I'm trying to navigate the big 9/8.
So you're back in the car now.
We're driving.
Okay,
We've been driving the whole time.
Okay, so you went in, bought a drink.
No, I didn't do that. That's what I was planning to do.
Okay,
That was going through my head.
So you're making your plan.
I'm
as you
making my
go.
plan.
Okay.
Where we're going to go. We got to go to some place like that.
I'm sure A-Train and I are the only two that didn't understand what you were talking about.
So as I'm
Not
driving,
the sharpest knives in the drawer.
Sometimes
Jay.
no.
Yeah. Okay.
as I'm driving along, all of a sudden I realize I'm blind. I can't see.
Okay.
And it burns.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then as I wiped my eyes, I could see the girl right next to me had her breast out and was wringing it and spraying breast milk directly into my eyes. And she belts out, I can fuck you or feed you. And then it's like, wants me to do the high five and I can't see anything. I'm like, and then I'm trying to do the high five and wipe my eyes. And so then I was like, and then I'm thinking, wait a minute, can I get, what is that? You get a disease.
Sure, you could. Yeah, I mean, that's the bodily
battery
fluid.
by bodily fluid?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
I'll
bodily
charge
fluid.
them with that?
You get.
I was worried about with the C, what is it called?
Hepatitis C?
Hepatitis C. I was worried about getting hepatitis
Well,
from her
it
breast
sounds
milk.
like I tell you, the acidity in that breast milk must have been something if it was
The
burning your eyes
pH
like
on
that.
it was off.
Right.
If it was burning like
You
that.
know, I had a litmus pad there to test
Did you?
it.
Okay.
Was she
I
a-
said,
was she
you're
a
way over the
smoker?
limit.
Was she a smoker?
I don't know.
Doesn't that affect it? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
It didn't have any tar and nicotine taste to it.
I'm not a doctor.
I get that.
But once I was able to get my bearings and could see again, and then I had to find a place, I was laughing so hard I could barely get it out that I was the police.
So you're telling me that just out of the blue, she is spraying you with her breast milk.
Yes.
And she kind of was. This was a selling point.
Yes, it was. Yes,
her?
it's like, look, hey, you've hit the jackpot. Look what I can do.
This is her thing.
Yes.
Was this during the prop when you're?
This is after it was
Oh,
agreed
so you already
to.
agreed.
It's agreed to, and all I'm thinking is, okay, where do I got to get to a safe spot, identify him, so we're all
Okay.
feel safe, and they're not worried about me being a serial
Those
killer.
things had to be gigantic.
No.
How do you?
No, she
I mean,
didn't.
you're driving,
She
she's
didn't
sitting to
even
the
lean
side of
towards
you.
me. She just looked straight ahead. It was kind of like a ricochet rabbit, where she held the mirror up and was shooting things behind her.
That's an unbelievable shot.
She just, and boom, in my eyes.
Oh my God.
So that was reality to the old saying. If I don't know, let's say somebody was cold, maybe, and things were, you say, you put an eye out with that thing. Well, she damn near did.
Yeah, and it
Absolutely.
was, as I was trying to get my eyesight back, it was just ringing in my ears about, I can either fuck you or feed you.
Oh man.
Did
So
you
that's her slogan.
Did you say both? I mean, you say, well,
No, like I said, I was pretty much dumbfounded after that.
Oh, I bet.
You know, and then once on this situation right here, she gave me all this information, and and then she gave me her name and everything. Well, guess what? Shocker. She didn't give me the right name. She gave me her sister's name. So we go to court, and I'm there. I go to court to verify that the person, her sister, was not the one who did this, spray me with breast milk. So I hustle over to court, and I go in there, and the judge, the
Your Honor,
the
have I got
bailiff,
one for you.
and all the court staff, they had read it. So as soon as I walked in, they're all snickering and laughing. You're the guy. I said, yep. And I go, she's not the girl. And but we all had a gigantic laugh about
and
it.
did they move your case to the front because they just had to
Yeah,
get to it? Because we know how it is in court, right?
Yeah,
I
as
mean,
soon as
you
I
know.
got in there, boom, here we go. Everybody's laughing. They cleared out. They let this woman go. And the sister was telling me, my sister's been like that her whole life. She's always lactating. She's constantly
Well,
lactating.
okay, this was going to be my question. What did she have a child at home?
I don't know. I don't think she had a child at home. She was just always lactating. No, she didn't have a kid.
Her sister told you that this is just something that
She's
is
always been lactating.
unbelievable.
Yep. So if she starts ringing them, they start squirting.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And for the record, this is one of those times when I'm not going to say what just popped into my head.
It's probably good.
I'm going to
Jay.
I'm not.
Yeah. The one question I have for you is, when you came into court, did the court staff have cookies for you? No.
No, they didn't have anything, but they had big smiles on their face.
I bet they did.
That's the guy.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. And they wanted to hear all about
Oh,
it.
as do we, and as do we hope a lot of people do. Wow.
The court all had a very good sense of humor about it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. I really don't know whether to call you Super E from here on out or the Milkman.
Yeah, one or the other, man. Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's great. That's great.
I don't think this milk was pasteurized, though.
I don't think it was either. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's do an experiment. Go grab a gallon of milk, pour it in my eye, see if it burns. If it don't burn, then
Right.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true. But I was worried about hepatitis C for the longest time.
I can see that. I mean, there is a crime of battery with a bodily fluid.
Right.
Right.
But was that
That
was that statute
That was-
around back then?
Yeah, it was.
It was.
Was it?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to date you too much.
But yeah, this happened in about 2006, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wasn't that long ago.
So
Yeah.
did you detail your car? Did you? What was the?
No, that.
So-
I did. It had like the plastic leather seats, so I just
Okay.
had to wipe it.
Good.
But there were times when I had my undercover car that had fabric seats, and I had to take bleach.
You know we were going to get to this eventually.
Absolutely. We've gotten to that end point just a little quicker than we thought.
Right.
But that's fine.
I didn't know people would realize that we're 11 that soon.
Right.
Exactly.
Well,
So we're going to close out this episode. A-Train, you got anything?
I got nothing except for the same exit music that we played at the beginning of the show.
All right,
Super
here we
E,
go.
anything
I'm ready for the exit music.
Before we hit that 70s dance,
Yeah.
let's go.
All right. Till next time.